Hey everybody, I wanted to share with you some fragrances that I used to love but no longer reach for anymore. Or at least I don't reach for them as often. There have been other scents that have superseded these, but the scents I'm going to mention to you right now are ones that were very specific for a certain era of my life. Like I would use these nonstop. So the first is Oceania by Roja Parfums. And this smells like luxurious Sprite, simply put. I loved wearing this when I was fresh out of the shower. And I would always wear this in the summertime. And it's just such a bright, fizzy fragrance. And I really, really enjoy it. It reminds me of the beach because I would wear this to the beach almost all the time and wear this when it was hot all the time. But gosh, man, this is still so good. And this fragrance, I still smelt on myself around 8 hours, which was incredible for a fresh fragrance. But yeah, I would run this thing into the ground. And I still have love for it. You know, we never went our separate ways. It's just kind of a fragrance that I'll still hold dear to me. You know what I'm saying? So Oceania by Roja Parfums. Another one that I had quite the era with was Dazir Toxic. This is a menace fragrance through and through. It smells very dirty, raunchy, sexy. Yeah, it's that cannabis note. It's that weed note, you know what I mean? But it also smells like cinnamon. There's black currant, which smells like blackberries, and there's musk as well in this scent. But man, I used to use this, especially before I got Leighton. This was like my go-to fragrance when I wanted to smell like sexy. You know what I'm saying? So this is a unisex fragrance from Micallef, yeah. And damn, it's just, let me smell it again. I guess the reason I don't wear it as much anymore is because the performance isn't as great as Leighton's performance. And on top of that, it's just, I find Leighton to be a lot more wearable than this. This is a little bit more polarizing, but from time to time, I would put my nose on this or I would do a spray and be like, okay, yeah, it still has it. You know what I mean? I'm not put off by this fragrance in the slightest. And man, this thing pulled a ton of compliments when I wore it. It was like compliments galore. So number 3, I would have to say is, oh man, this one and I have history. 1899. Gosh, come on. 1899 Hemingway by Histoire de Parfums. This has been compared to the likes of Spice Bomb Extreme. It's been compared to Rehab by Anicio. And honestly, I see it. There is similarities. This is a fresh, I'm saying all the wrong words. This is a spicy fragrance that has a little bit of a sweet dry down. And honestly, yeah, I still have appreciation for this, but no lie, in the opening, and sometimes when you smell it from the tip, which you don't do that when you're testing, but me just smelling it right now, it sort of smells a little bit like pickles, especially when I spray it in the air. Like that first 1 second, 1 to 2 seconds, I get a split second of just a pickle smell in the air, and I'm like, okay, and then it goes away, you know? So I guess this is definitely a scent I wore a lot in the early days of September. I would wear this in a lot of summer. Gosh, I'm sorry. It's late tonight. I'm probably going to post this in the morning, but I would wear this on summer nights. And it's something that really just stayed close to my scent bubble, okay? This fragrance never really projected like anything crazy. I believe within the first hour, it was pretty decent, like I got in arm's length. And it was one of the fragrances I wore where everybody just thought it was nice. They thought it was pleasant. They were not too crazy about it. I myself was the one that enjoyed wearing this more than other people enjoyed smelling it on me, right? But yeah, this is still a nice fragrance. I still would recommend it for date nights if you want to go more in the spicy direction. So yeah, give this one a shot. Oh, gosh, unisex fragrance. I'm going to leave all the links and the names in the description as well, so you can just check that out if you want to. Another one that, you know what? Oh, this is one. Prada L'Homme EDT. I still love this fragrance, but I used to wear this day in, day out. I got this around the spring of 2021, around March, even I think February, March is when I got this fragrance and I bought it. And I got it from, I believe it was Fragrance Net. Yeah, I think I got it from, it was like one of my first buys from Fragrance Net. And I was like, oh my God, wow, this is so good. And I got so many compliments on this fragrance. I really liked the luxurious fabric softener vibe that it had. I know some people say it smells soapy, but to me, Amoureuse Homme is more soapy and this is more fabric softener. That's just what my nose picks up, right? But this fragrance had pretty good projection for a freshie. And in fact, I found it in some circumstances to be a little bit heavier for days where, like, you know how people say it's meant to be worn in warmer weather? But sometimes when I would wear it and it's hot outside, I'm like, wow, this is actually a little bit more intense. It's not as bright, you know what I mean? And maybe it's because the iris floral is heavier, I'm not sure, or like, but there was a thickness to this fragrance when I wore it in the heat that, you know, it smelled fantastic, but I myself was kind of surprised by it. Oh, stop, this is still good. When people come into my collection, specifically when girls smell this, they like it. When guys smell it, they're like, oh, like that doesn't have any personality, that smells blah, 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 blah. But girls are always like, oh my God, that smells so good. Yeah, they ask for the name of it too. And they're like, yeah, I want to write this down in case, you know, for my boyfriend and stuff like that. So girls like it, guys think it's meh, but I still really like that fragrance. And another one that, oof, this is a big one right here. If you've been following me since my early TikTok days, excuse me, Club de Nuit Intense Woman, I could not stop talking about this fragrance. This was the first fragrance that I made a TikTok video for and it went viral. Or viral, I guess I was like, whoa. Like I randomly woke up and 30,000 people liked it. And I was like, what the hell? Like what's happening over here? You know what I'm saying? And so many people bought this fragrance. Now this is a dupe of Noir de Noir by Tom Ford. And when I bought this fragrance, I actually blind bought it on Amazon because the bottle looked cool. So I knew nothing about the fragrance. And then when it came in and I sprayed it, I finally did my first Google search. And I was like, okay, let's see what people are saying about this. And everyone's like, it's a dupe, it's a dupe, it's a dupe. And I'm like, oh shit, I bought a clone. But I've never smelled Noir de Noir, right? But after smelling both of them, I could tell you that Noir de Noir is definitely, you can tell it's higher quality. But this fragrance in the opening has some geranium, there's rose and some saffron. But I will say, some people that have bought this off my recommendation, on their skin, they're saying it smells like a funeral home because the rose can get a bit mature, you know? So that's the only downside. That's the flip side of the coin with this fragrance. But on me, it straight up smells like blackcurrant. It smells like blackberries. And it smells very fruity and juicy and dark and rebellious at the same time. So I was like, dang, this is really good. And this did pull me a lot of compliments. It would easily perform over 12 hours, which for a $25 fragrance, I think it was $22 or $25 for this full size. And it was going over like 12 hours. I was really shocked. I was like, man, this thing is putting in work. So I really did enjoy using this. I would use it all the time in warmer weather. It's usually very warm here in general, but yeah, I would wear it at night. I would wear it during the days and I could not get enough of it. The one thing I didn't like about this fragrance was the cap. Like, I don't even put it on fully anymore, or it was full when it was in there because somebody else used it. But it's a hassle to get on and off. Like you really have to yank this thing off. But again, $25 fragrance, so I'm not going to complain about the cap on that. And the last fragrance I'm going to mention, or one of the last ones, we'll do two more. By the Fireplace by Maison Margiela. Still has a special place in my heart. But I went through this for, I think, there was 5 weeks where I only wore this. I would wear it to sleep like every single day. I wore this scent, especially I believe it was in January of 2021. This was all I was wearing. Sure, there were some days where I would wear Dolce & Gabbana Light Blue Intense when it was like hot. But for the most part, every single day, every single night, I was spraying this fragrance and I loved it. I would spray it on my bed sheets. My room smelled like it. Everyone that came into my room was like, oh my God, it smells so good. It's so sweet. It's so inviting. So this smells like fire in the opening, smells like burning wood. And then it dries down smelling like marshmallows, smelling like s'mores actually. So it smells like vanilla and chestnut. But yeah, this fragrance performs over 8 hours and it's just not a scent I really reach for as much anymore, but I guarantee by maybe December of this year of 2022, I'll give it another wear, or maybe even in November. But I think that this is a fragrance I actually want to try layering with other things, because it's definitely, it has its own identity by itself, but I want to see what would happen if I add other layers to that. So By the Fireplace by Maison Margiela. And lastly, Noir de Noir by Tom Ford. This fragrance was my go-to right when I had this bottle, because I got this and Oud Wood at the same time. It was a gift from a follower. And I was nonstop using this one. I did not understand Oud Wood. I wore it a couple times, but I thought it was so-so. But this fragrance, right from the jump, I was obsessed with it. I was like, man, this is a really good scent. It smells like Valentine's Day in a bottle. You know, it's dark chocolate, rose, and a little bit of wine in the background. And I've never smelled anything as luxurious as this before, in terms of a sweet fragrance with smells I was already familiar with before I got into fragrances. So this one was a big one for me, but I think I overused it to a point where I kind of got sick of it. I was like, oh man, this smell is kind of getting a bit old. So even now, it's nothing that I reach for, but I know that maybe around Valentine's Day of this year, I'll probably give it another shot, just because it's a romantic fragrance, you know, but now I know that this is more of a special occasion scent for me. It's something I would use once in a blue moon. So Noir de Noir by Tom Ford. Let me just do one more. Soir by MFK. Man, this is so good. But to be honest, the amber in this fragrance, I don't find it as sexy as Ombre Nuit by Dior. This goes a little bit more in like a candle waxy direction, like a thick candle direction, you know what I'm saying? But it still is a bit airy when you spray it. It still radiates and projects really nicely to a point where you as the wearer aren't getting too like put off by how strong the scent is. It really, really pushes off the skin nicely. But this is straight up an amber vanilla fragrance, but goes more in the candle direction. You know what I mean? So definitely use this a lot on colder nights. And people really did love this as well. But yeah, it's all right. I don't reach for it as much. Still got love for it though. Anyways, like I said, I'll put all the names in the description in case you're interested, but let me know what scents you used to use a lot, but now you don't use them as much, but you still got love for them. Anyways, I hope you have a great day, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.